This podcast is sponsored by Oracle. The world is changing at a rapid pace, forcing organizations to evaluate and redesign the employee experience. Introducing Oracle Me, part of the Oracle Cloud HCM. Oracle Me is the only complete employee experience platform that empowers talent to connect, grow, and thrive. Built natively as part of the end-to-end HCM system and working across multiple business channels, Oracle Me gives business leaders the power to create tailored experiences by better understanding each employee, personally and professionally, to meet them where they are and take them where they want to be. To learn more, visit oracle.com/employee-experience. HR Famous, welcome back to another edition. It's your host with the most, Tim Sackett, with my friends Madeline Laurano and JLee. Ladies, how are you?
Doing well.
Excellent. Well, people can't see us, Tim.
You both talked like you were reading stuff as I'm asking the question.
Excellent. Whatever you want us to say, we're excellent. No, I was just going to comment. People can't see us, but I love how, like, Madeline, you're like, oh, I have that dress. And so, like, Tim, this is what you get with, like, two ladies now, where we're like, you know, we like to talk about each other's noses and how cute they are, and fun stuff about matching outfits. And so, you know, new vibe on HR Famous.
Yeah.
So, Jay, where's the dress from?
It's Diane von Furstenberg, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Yeah.
We're so fancy. Look at us.
TV, you guys are fancy. So, Diane Furstenberg.
Von Furstenberg.
Von Furstenberg. Is that a store or a catalog or a site? What is the hell is it? Designer is like a Nordstrom okay. All right.
But does anyone do catalogs anymore? Like, that's not a thing.
I just dated myself, didn't I?
I know you did.
I get a million catalogs at my house. That's all I say that. Like all these stores, like once you shop there, they send you these stupid catalogs. It's like
I know. I get tons.
Yeah.
But it's not like you order it from the catalog. It sends you to the website. Like, remember when they had a catalog with like an order form? Like,
the J. Crew catalog, right? It was like,
I still look at the J. Crew catalog. It's horrible.
It's so much mail, though. All those catalogs,
it's just so much waste. Such a waste.
That can't have it has to have an impact if they keep sending them, right? But like you would think there's no way. I mean, we immediately throw them out because we already either we're going to the store or we're going online. I'm not looking at some dumb catalog, you know.
I wonder, how do they calculate like return on that? Is it that you snap?
They used to have a code on the catalog that you'd have to input, like when you went to the site to buy something or whatever, and they kind of tracked it that way because you could get 5% off or whatever.
Or something interesting.
You know what surprises me is how many kids. I mean, my kids are now like 7th grade and 4th grade, and I still get like baby catalogs constantly, even from stores I never shopped at. That just
Gymboree,
yeah, exactly, or Bowden, and all these like little kid stores. And I'm like, are there really like new parents that are shopping off of catalogs? I mean, if anything, like the newer generations, like, what is this?
It just shows how bad like marketing is. Like we see this in recruitment marketing too, but like how bad marketing is overall is that you just keep going back to that same well over and over and over again versus like you can't give it up. It's like, nope, we've always done the catalog. We have an entire team that puts the catalog together. Make the catalog.
Maybe it's to have the models though.
You know what's funny is like when I first did pharmacy recruitment, we would do direct mail or like postcards all the time. Like that was the way to do it. Like you just constantly sending out like these direct mail things. And each one was like $2,500, $1,500, and depending on how big the list was, and that's just the way you did it. And you got like 1% reply, whatever, but that's how you found your people. Today, I think that would actually work. Like, I think people are still like, if you, and I don't know if a postcard would work, but I think if you actually said, like, let's say you're trying to hire like software developers and you had like mailing addresses and you actually sent them like 100, 200 like letters out, I think you would get a better response than email or text or anything else.
Yeah.
It definitely catch people's attention because recently, but then I'll tell you, I think there's a downside. I got a card in the mail and I was like, who's this from? I was like, how do they know my name and my address? And it was a realtor who was like looking to, just pick up some potential clients. And I was like, how'd you get my name and address? I didn't like it. I was actually creeped out. Like, I'm not trying to sell my house. Why do you have my information? And I didn't like it. So I don't know. That could be the downside, Tim, where they're like,
Well,
lawn creeper.
Creepy.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I have a story I'm actually gonna put in my book, and I'll tell it to you guys. But like, so today I come into my office and I have like one of these kind of document like UPS things, right? And in it is one page paper with a business card and a paper clip, hand signed, and it's from Bank of America, right? And I'm thinking, great, I'm getting sued or something, something's happening. It was literally like a business development guy saying, hey, I'm going to be in like town. By the way, he lives in the same town I live in. I'm going to be in town next week. Would love to stop by and like pitch you on our banking services.
Like a
Like he's
commercial.
Yeah, like he actually sent though like the
A
UPS
signed
doc.
letter.
Like you're gonna open that thing, right? Like I wasn't gonna open an email that he sent or like some other like kind of mass mailing thing. So
Mm.
to me that's brilliant. Made me open it, and
Yep.
I was like, and again I just threw it away, but whatever.
I'm going to tell
Um,
you what's not brilliant. Speaking of marketing, though, I got this in the mail at work, and it was a vendor in the HR tech space. And I don't even actually remember who the vendor was, but it was in a UPS envelope like the one you just pulled up. And inside was another envelope, and it had a bunch of puzzle pieces. And I was like, all right,
no,
first of
hard
all,
out.
like, do you know what my job is? I don't have time to put together a puzzle.
That's
I mean,
amazing.
like, I'm not gonna like. I don't often pull rank, but I'm like, I'm a senior executive at a big Fortune company. I ain't putting together your puzzle piece just because you thought that was cute. You HR tech vendor. I was
My
just not.
favorite, my
Oh
favorite,
my
Metal,
God.
my favorite Jessica is when she pulls rank.
That is actually hysterical. I can guess who sent it too. I'm not going to say anything
Oh
else.
please, come on, let's talk about. I want to know who said the puzzle
Well, I don't
pieces.
even know who sent it, Madeline, because I just threw it away. And actually, my son happened to be in the office that week, and I walked down the hallway. I was like, "Look at this thing that someone sent me. I'm not opening it. I'm not putting it together. I just put it in the garbage." And
I am 100% sure I've never recommended to a tech vendor that they should put a puzzle together for marketing.
Horrible. I got a Lego once for my kids, and it was like a big hit. Like a
Oh
Lego
yeah,
person. You just had to put the person together. It was a
oh,
very
I
Shout out to Paradox.
paradox. Yes, it was awesome. I was like, it was like very popular at our house.
But then
That's
the
so fun.
problem with
So
that is they probably sent you one. You need two. You got to have two of everything. In Tim's case,
hey,
you got to have three. Like you can't just have one toy. Like
the
that's
king of that in our space is William Tincup. He will tell them like every time they like, hey, we want to send you something. He's like, send two. I got two kids. They're gonna take this stuff. I'm not gonna take it. Send
Yeah,
two, and they do. Like they send two, whatever it is.
awesome, awesome.
So Madeline, you have to do that too.
I
I
know.
think I got to that point where my kids are out of the house now, so they don't take my like. I would come home with like a pair of beats, and like there was a fist fight, and who was getting the beat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jason Putnam did. He sent a package, but he was like, "These are for the
Nice.
boys," and two. It was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So the marketing story for my book is it's a real estate story. So they went a researcher went into this like mid-sized kind of town into like a suburb that had in like a community that had maybe like 1,000 homes, 2,000 homes. Went to every single home and said the only question we have is who is the number one realtor in your area. They got done with all 2,000 and it was literally a shit show of a million names, right? Like nobody had more than like 4%, whatever. And then they went back and made a fake profile of a realtor, picture, like number one realtor in your area, blah, blah, blah. And they did an 8x8, which is for 8 straight weeks, they send out a mailer of different kinds, different design to all the homes in those 2,000 homes. Went back and did the research again. And over 65% said the fake realtor was the number one in their area. Like the power of advertising and marketing is
that's
so
amazing.
strong. We have no idea.
Amazing,
And I
amazing.
think for me, like the tie-ins back to your employment brand, like we spend so much time on our brand and of who we are. But the reality is we just need to tell people who we are, like, and what we want them to know and advertise the crap out of it. And then they're going to believe it. And it's different between, I think, employment brand than like employee experience and what the real brand is. But
Until they get hired.
Yeah, right. At that point, it's too late. It's a big regret for them. So, let's. Did you like that segue, Jay?
I do.
Let's talk about the Great Resignation, which I'm going to be now like the follow up, the sequel to the Great Resignation is the Big Regret, um, which is this concept of when you have 4 or 5 million people a month like changing jobs. A lot of the studies are coming out now with which we probably could have already kind of knew that was going to happen. 40, 50% of these people are saying I shouldn't have changed, but now they feel stuck because like I got a 10%, 20%, 30% increase. I can't go backwards in my pay, but I hate the company. I hate my job. I hate the boss. I hate the people I work with. And I loved it before,
Yeah.
but the other company wasn't willing to pay me, 20 grand more to stay there. Do you guys, do we feel like this is kind of normal behavior when we have that many changes happening? Do you guys have like a big regret you want to share? Like,
Yeah.
where is it?
So I think what happened in the past 2 years is it was like pay driven, Tim, to your point. So it was like you as an employee could make a lot more money changing jobs. And that became so appealing because it was so different than what you were making at your other job that you didn't really factor into the work life balance, the actual work you were doing, the people you'd be working with. It just became a no brainer. Like pay becomes a no brainer when you get such an increase. You can't say no to it. So I think that is a big factor with it. But I had a big regret too. I left a company and I was feeling a little burnt out, and I think I got another offer and I was flattered and didn't really think it through. I was young. And I immediately knew like it was more about the work. Like, this is not work that I've experienced doing. I don't think I can be successful doing this work, and felt that. I mean, I think when you think about the big regret, you feel it like first 30 days. Like, you
Yeah.
know, right away that
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
not the right decision. You're
Yeah.
like, I should have thought through this a little bit more. And I was young, so I don't know how much of it is like an age thing. But I do think the past 2 years has been pay. I think it's been like, you can't say no when you're going to make that much more money. And maybe you can even change your job and make more money. And
Yeah.
then you just are not thinking through the full picture.
Yeah. Jay, you have any big regrets? I mean,
Well,
besides,
I do have a motto about like no regrets. I actually, I don't though. I don't have like a big regret from a job perspective. So I maybe I'm a rarity in that, but I actually just think it's really healthy that people are going through big regrets because it turns into stories, which is actually something that I appreciate because your friend left the
yeah.
company, they thought the grass was greener on the other side, and then they start hearing like, oh, actually maybe the grass isn't greener. And when you have those magical moments of those people boomeranging back to your company and they're able to say, I thought it was better. I thought the culture wasn't all that it was cracked up to be, when I was leaving. And now I realize what I had. I mean, I actually think that's super powerful. And so I'm here for the big regret. And I think it's just really healthy for people to go see something else.
It sounds like another LinkedIn porn story that Jessica's
Yes,
putting
it
together.
could be. We should start a hashtag big regret, and people are going to start posting their big
Yeah.
regret stories and
Yeah.
hashtag boomerang back to whatever company they boomerang back to. So I think it is a movement. I am here for the big regret. I've never had one, but I'm here for the big regret. It's like love, right? Like some people have like this regret about like, oh, the one
Yeah.
my long lost love. Same thing. Same thing.
Yeah. I had that because I left when I left Applebee's, like I loved working for the company and like all the people. I mean, again, there's always circumstances of what makes you make that decision. And for me, it wasn't money. It was the company was getting bought out by another company. Like massive change was going to happen. More than likely, I was going to have to move. I had kids that were just like getting to their like formative years in school. And so my wife and I were like, look, we're not leaving. So I jumped at a really good job with a health system, which again, love the mission of saving lives and all of that and working in this health system. But immediately the culture was very old school. And I like, that regret, like you said, Madeline, it hit me almost instantly. Like you just
Yeah.
knew, oh, I made a bad decision. Again,
Mm.
people were great. Many of the people were great. Some weren't, but it was one of those things where you go, it was so different from where I was. But like at the same time, I wasn't going back. to that. You're only going to go like someplace else. But one of the interesting things is like, even though you know that you have this big regret, you still have to almost like plow through and grind out like a certain period of time, 12 months, 24 months, whatever that is from a career standpoint. You kind of get forced to grind out. And I think, to Jessica, to your point, then that's the teaching, right? Is, hey, we can always say the grass isn't greener, but until you've actually had a big regret, you don't really understand that or know that from that standpoint. And I think that's where we see all these people now. Like, and then the other piece of it is like, how many of us had these hiring managers that were like, oh, Madeline, you're our number one analyst at Josh Burson Academy or whatever, and we love you. And then you leave, and all of a sudden Josh is like, I'm ripping my shirt. I hate Madeline. Like, she's never coming back. And you're like, Josh would never do that. He loves
He
you.
didn't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But no, but like that happens with our hiring managers. Like
Yeah.
like they get weird and like they won't take somebody back. And you're like, no, this like, again, coming back is never the same. But like, we have hiring managers that make it almost impossible for people to come back.
I know. But I think that's short lived too. Like it's the initial hurt and the pain. Like I'm very curious what you think about alumni hiring and boomerangs in general, because sometimes it's not a good idea to either go back because you need to kind of wait out the period you made your decision, but also there is some animosity. It's like alumni program only successful if it's been a year or 2 years. I mean, I don't think an
Yeah.
alumni can be 2 months later. Like team members are mad, hiring managers are upset. There's been some chaos. There's a little
But
distrust.
I do think there's a window in that first 90 days where you can pick somebody up. I think you go really hard 90 days and then you shut it down and you don't get them again until like after a year. Right.
Yeah.
Because I do think there's a window where they go and they're like, oh crap, I made a really bad decision. If I could can I rewind this real quick?
Yeah, I do
And if
too.
you can catch them right there, maybe
Yeah.
that, but like
that get out of jail, like for that very short period. But I think you're right, Madeline. It's like the boomerang back shouldn't be until after a certain time period, because you got to grind it out. You got to have some wins with wherever you went. And like I always talk about people and having a 2.0, 3.0 version. And I love the comeback stories of like they went away, they learned all these lessons, and they come back like a newer version of themselves. Where they're able to show like what they're made of. But this all just points back to like the not burning bridges when you're leaving, and like the importance of like you gotta like set your team, your company up for success when you're deciding to move on, and just the importance of that. But I have a question for both of you, because you both had a big regret. Like you both said you knew pretty immediately that it wasn't a good move that you made and you ended up grinding it out. But like, I'm curious, were there any flags like during the, and I don't know if you can go back to like recall this, but like, were there any flags during the interview or selection process where you should have known maybe this isn't the right move? Like, I'm curious, like, are people just not picking up the signals that like for something that could be a big regret?
Hey, this is William Tincup, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Practitioner Corner podcast. It's a wonderful podcast about the journey, the paths of how practitioners, both HR and TA, kind of go from high school, college, all the way to where they are right now. Some of the things that they've learned, how they've been successful, people that thrive around them, etc. It's a fun podcast. You'll love it. You'll learn from it. Subscribe to it. Thanks.
I definitely did. I think mine was a lot of inexperience on my part. Like I was young, and I know, like looking back, I was like, I knew the interview process didn't feel great because I didn't know how to do that job. Like that wasn't the work. I'm an analyst. I've always been an analyst. I was an analyst right out of grad school. I think that's what I'm good at. I'm not, I wasn't good at this other thing. And, I tried something different, rounded me out a little bit, but I went back to being an analyst. And I think if I think about through the interview process, I knew what they were telling me what the job was. They were asking me questions about the job. I could have picked up that wasn't going to be what I was good at.
Yeah, Jay, the same way. Like mine was like during the great not resignation, but like the Great Recession. So for me, it was an executive level job comes open in my city. There's not a lot of those, so I was already kind of like I kind of knew it was going to be way more corporate than what I really wanted or what was right for me. At the same time, like like as a dude, like breadwinner in the family, like I just had well, it's never going to be awful and terrible. And it's not. Like I can get along with anybody for, whatever. Um, but I kind of knew, I think in hindsight, right, looking back, I was like, yeah, this is way corporate. And you try to talk yourself into it. Like, oh, I need this for my career and this will be good. But the reality is I was, and I hear it like even during the interview process, because like you hear like some of those kind of leaders that you're interviewing with going, well, wow, you don't sound like any other person we've interviewed. And you're just kind of like, oh, maybe I'm not your guy.
Interesting. The big regret. Hashtag big regret.
Big regret. Someone's going to steal this and use this, and it's going to be all over media, and then someone's going to write a book, and then you guys are going to be going, no, Tim was the big regret was his.
This has to be like the post today. You got to do a big regret blog, Tim.
I know. I should put that out. Like, and then people can't like say like, because what will happen is I'll say it and then I'll get an email from somebody saying you stole this from me. I'm like, shut your mouth.
Oh, I know.
Let's go back. I'll show you exactly where it came from.
Yeah.
It could be a book.
That's like timestamp this right now.
It could be a podcast, stories of people's big regrets.
I know. This could be big. This could be huge. This is the next book.
Oh my gosh, the big regret. By the way, timey-wise, so I was at SHRM like a month ago, and like you can't believe how many of the talks had the Great Resignation in the title, and they were jam-packed. Like people, like that was a pull.
Interesting.
And which I always thought, it's kind of weird. Like it's kind of at the end of it, but it is what it is.
Maybe not. Yeah.
It's always about the title at SHRM. So, all right. I want to talk about Tesla. We talk about Tesla a lot. And so this isn't necessarily about Tesla. It's about some things Tesla's doing, and about a couple of articles that were out that have Tesla in them, but we don't necessarily talk about Tesla. So the first one was Elon Musk, and Tesla basically tracking office attendance by sending emails to employees who haven't badged in quotations, often enough. So it's like this whole kind of take of them trying to get you. They want to know the swipes when you're coming into the office, and someone like in security is tracking that. But I love that part of that process is if you're not going to be in the office, that you should email absence at like tesla.com. So you have some HR person having to get all these stupid emails from people going like, hey, I have a doctor's appointment today. I'm not coming in, and like sending the email because like we actually like, I don't, you guys probably have this for your schools as well. We do, where like it's the attendance line where you call in, you're like, hey, Cooper's sick today. Or he's got a haircut. I need to get him out at 10. It's just, you leave the message. But this reminds me of that so much that someone's going to be tracking. Now, again, if this article came out in like 2018, 2019, I wouldn't have even questioned it. Wouldn't even thought of it. It wouldn't even hit the radar, right? It probably wouldn't have even been an article. But now after like the pandemic and people working remotely and hybrid and all this seems draconian in a way, right?
Yeah, I thought the same thing you thought. Like the first thing I thought was like, this is how the schools do it, which it feels annoying for like the people that work in the office. It's annoying for the teachers. Like it's this super annoying system. It's interesting because I saw during the pandemic when people went remote, there was a lot of timesheets. Like for companies that never asked employees to ever fill out timesheets, all of a sudden, like I heard this from so many people, it was like all of a sudden there was an Excel sheet that you had to fill out each week with your hours of what you were doing. And this is how they were hoping to manage something during the remote work. But Tesla's now saying, we're going to be in an office.
Yeah. Get your ass back to work.
Still want to do this sort of archaic.
Jade, I know you guys at the mothership, you guys have to like swipe in from security reasons, right?
Yeah, we do like for security purposes to get in and out of buildings. But like the thing that I don't understand about this is I find it very irritating. So we all actually went to thinking about school. You got to call in to excuse an absence or, because you're going to be late because we're talking about children. We're talking about children.
Yes. Children. We're not talking about practice. We're talking about children.
Yeah.
Yes, like at Tesla, we were talking about adults. And so I just think it's crazy that they've gone this path. But then the other thing is, like, is there not like, this is a high tech company. Doesn't the system know when you've like unlocked your computer or you've like fired off an email or you have a meeting on your calendar and you've joined Teams or whatever? Like, there's so many ways to get at productivity. And so is this just like them being overlords to say we're big brother and we're going to really stick it to you because we want you to
Yeah.
be like as productive as possible? Like there's ways for you to see, like I get my digest from Microsoft Office and Outlook around like, how busy I've been, who I've been collaborating with, how much time I'm in meetings or when I'm sending emails. Like the big brother knows. Why are we doing these things? Like I just
You
don't
guys, I'm embarrassed to tell you how many people in my life I've fired by pulling the swipes. Because I have like I'm in like an HR role, corporate manager calls, like gosh dang it, like Johnny is leaving early, and then you go talk to Johnny, and Johnny's like, no, I don't. Like he leaves early, blah blah blah. So then you got to go pull the security swipes, and sure enough, like Johnny's leaving early, and and you end up firing people for that, or somebody like going like, well, you're the only person that was here on Friday. So like something got stolen, like you're responsible. And they're like, no, I wasn't there on Friday. Go pull the swipes. Like that was like typical like HR 101, like
Yeah.
employee, relations kind of crap that you had to go through all these investigations. I mean, the security swipe thing literally like it just seems like the mid 90s to me that we're gonna like Tesla's having people like they're tracking badge ins, badge outs.
It's
I
just
remember
it's crazy. I
it's
don't.
crazy. But for companies like especially in the hourly space, they use the time clocks, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
remember Kronos, like that's what their bread and butter was for a long time, was like these time clocks. And I remember like the biggest innovation, this is probably like 10, 15 years ago, was when you could do like geolocation. So you could see that people were using these time clocks, but they weren't necessarily on site of where they
Yeah,
needed to
or their
be.
buddy was swiping for them. It's like, hey, Johnny's gonna be a half an hour late. Hey, tomorrow I got this thing in the morning. Take my card and swipe me in. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like where before with the time clock, you could clock in anywhere you wanted. And now it was like, no, you literally need to be where you're supposed to be working.
Well, that was like the whole app thing on these time trackers as well. As people are like, oh, like you're selling the employee that now you can just go. You don't have to stop at the time because what happened was like especially in like these big like campus or manufacturing environments, people are like going. It takes me 15 minutes to walk from the time clock to where I got to work, and my boss is yelling at me. So we're like, okay, now on your cell phone you can clock in. But what they didn't know was now we can also track you where you are.
Yeah,
So like people end up getting fired for that.
right. Because it's
Yeah.
lying or
The other big innovation, Madeline, that I remember from like my first HR job, we installed new time clocks. I don't remember now if it was Kronos or ADP, but it was it was like an eyeball or a finger scanner. I can't remember
Yeah.
which of the two now,
yes.
but like everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, it's taking your information." But like, so you didn't have someone clock in for you. You had to like get yourself in front of that time clock, and like, man, that was
Okay, doesn't that like when you look into like in like hindsight, all of that seems so childish. Like
It was so
we were
childish.
treating people like children, and then but we were they and then expecting them to act like children instead of saying we're going to treat you like adults. If you don't act like an adult, we're just going to get rid of you.
Right.
And we just don't put up with that kind of nonsense or mess. And Tesla literally is just going like they have the best electrical vehicle on the planet, and they're gonna like totally screw themselves up by like going to like the stupid stuff.
Or criminals. It's like you're treating people like criminals. It's like, oh, I'm going to have someone blow into my breathalyzer
You're already
because.
guilty before you're innocent, right? Yeah. It's so crazy. All right, I got the other Tesla one that came out was about so Tesla laid off a bunch of people in the last few weeks or here. I mean, they've been announced. So, but like Business Insider, which we rip on Business Insider a lot, they're kind of like the worst of journalism. But this is the title. I just got laid off from my dream job at Tesla without warning. I feel like I got uprooted so a billionaire could save some money. And I just want to go, hey, Johnny, this is what businesses do. They make money. So if a billionaire became a billionaire because of his company, guess what? He's going to try to save some money when he can save money. And if he doesn't think you're worth the money that he's paying you, then somebody's going to lay you off. That's the real world. Welcome to the show. If you don't like that, go work for a nonprofit or the government or I don't know where, right? That people don't care if you work or not. But to me, I thought like we've seen so many. Again, this goes back to some of the previous like pod LinkedIn conversations we've had around like people going on LinkedIn and sharing these stories about being like laid off and shocked. And then, but if you followed them on LinkedIn all day long, you would just see them posting complete bullshit stuff on LinkedIn. Like, oh, it's 3 o'clock and I'm painting my dog's toenails. It's like, why are you putting this on LinkedIn? Just crap like that.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear like an employment attorney what their reaction would be to that, because if this person was really fired or laid off for a reason that maybe shouldn't have happened, then they could work with an employment attorney to kind of figure out the best situation. I'm sure an employment attorney would say, do not go to Business Insider and share your story.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, and part of this is like, I think it's one of the reasons Elon, moved his operations to Texas is like, right. Kind of a right to work state or at will state or whatever they want to call it. There, so they can let you go for any reason. And, it's kind of the way it goes.
He's protected.
Yeah. I mean, this whole Tesla layoff story, I actually interviewed and hired someone recently who was affected by the Tesla layoffs. And so that's actually something I was really excited about because I was like, yes, let me get this person off the market and into my team. But he was telling me that like a lot of what this person wrote about is pretty, spot on in terms of like how it was handled. And I think that's the problem here. Like, yes, there are going to be layoffs. Businesses go through all sorts of things. This pandemic has taught us that like companies have had to do the unimaginable. And so there's something that this person, a lesson to be learned in, just the world of business and what happens. But I think the bigger issue for me is like, are companies not handling it in the right way? No one wants to lay off people. Like that's not like anything we ever want to have to deal with. But like his bigger beef is yes, Tesla was his dream job. Yes, he's like upset that Elon Musk is a billionaire. But like the bigger thing I think is like the way it was handled, the sequencing of events, and like they didn't treat, or he at least felt like he wasn't treated like with humanity and empathy. And so that's where I'm like, come on, HR people and companies, like we can do better. Like this is a traumatic event for someone to have to go through to be laid off. And so if we're not treating people like with compassion as they're going through that, yes, Business Insider and others are going to write about what you've done because no one wants to be treated like crap. So
The problem is like I push back a little in terms of like I've never been through a layoff process and I've had to go through it with a lot of companies and lay people off. And you try to be as compassionate as you can be because it's a major impact on them and their families and everything, right? And as HR professionals, you try to kind of be empathetic around that. The problem is that the person that's happening to, they don't feel that, they don't see that, they don't care that you're trying to be empathetic. Their job and their life just got uprooted of what they counted on, and they're like in complete shock. And then like there's stuff around like, well, my email was shut off immediately. And of course, like you're talking about like work product and IP and all these issues that we're not going to give you access to your computer and your email when you could steal stuff or take stuff or share stuff or do whatever. Like, and again, individually, I don't think that I'm worried about you, but you don't know, right? If you lay off 1,000 people, you don't know which one of those 1,000 might do that. So you have to do it to all 1,000. And that feels very cold to any individual that has to go through that. I just don't know how you could do it differently in today's world with the amount of information we have digitally. Like, how do you not shut them off,
Yeah, well, and I don't think it's so much about like shutting them off necessarily, like in the speed with which people do it. Like the thing that I really like zeroed in on is this guy in this one guy in the single Business Insider article.
Yeah, one guy. Yeah.
How part of it was like they read off a script and like they didn't feel like they felt like it was like this robotic transactional event.
Yeah.
And I see this all the time where like HR people and managers, they are given scripts, they're given talking points because we want to make sure that we're,
Legally
managing
compliant. Yeah.
risk, but there's still a way for like people to take talking points and be human and have like empathy about it. And I think part of it is like a lot of people don't know how to handle that situation. Like the person delivering the news is probably, just as nervous and concerned
Yeah.
about, how am I going to like do this? Am I going to be able to get through it? But I still think like people, no one's ever going to be 100% happy. You're never going to get through a layoff or a situation like this where
Yeah.
the person is satisfied. But like there's empathy that I think people can
I
still
think
infuse into it.
Some humanity that you can put in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one way like that companies could do this or should do this is you announce a layoff. You tell people like you're gonna continue to work for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever that time frame is, right? Here's your severance, all of that stuff. During this time, understand like there's gonna be a heightened IT security around what you send, what you download, all of that stuff. Like that's just reality. But we wanna treat you with respect and empathy and as an adult. If you decide like you're going to try to do bad stuff, we're going to walk you out immediately and we're going to take action. Right. I think there is ways that we could probably do that and help like companies. I just don't think legal ever allows us to kind of be human when it comes to that. They're just like, nope, too much risk. Why would
Well,
we do
I'll
that?
give you an
Some
example.
companies do, though. Some companies give a couple weeks and let people kind of figure
Yeah.
out what they need to do.
By
I
the
work,
way, those 2 weeks become like it's like the worst culture
I
ever.
know, it's
It's like
horrible.
death men. Like it's just people walking through. Like you have your job, they don't. Like what do you say?
It's awful, but I'll give you a real life example of like where this is me tooting our own horn at Marriott of an example that was covered by press of, I think it was a master class in leadership, but I think it was, very public and known when the pandemic hit that we had to furlough a crap ton of people because the travel
Yeah.
industry was impacted. And there was a very deliberate decision made by our then CEO, who's now unfortunately passed, where he wanted to start the communication with a video that he personally recorded. And he says in this video, it went out to the entire organization. I, as like the CEO of this company, feel a tremendous sense of responsibility where this is a very difficult decision we had to make. And I wanted to be the one to communicate it. And he, talked about the culture of the company and he recognizes how hard this is. And like he choked up in the video. Like it was something that many people saw and they were like, okay, they're not doing this as like this cold-hearted act of here's these talking points. We're going to do this thing to affect your livelihood. Probably what also made it even more difficult was the man was, battling cancer at that time. But like it was something he personally felt like he had responsibility to deliver the news. And then, of course, we all went through the mechanics of the next steps of, talking to people individually, but started right at the top. And he said, like, this is on me. Like I had to
And he
make
took
this
a salary cut. Didn't he take a salary cut too? Yeah. I mean, I used Marriott as an example in some webinars I did on like branding and humanity during the pandemic. But I think it's a great example. I worked for a company. I wasn't part of the layoffs, but it was a very large analyst firm, and they laid people off. So the executive team, they were talking all week. So people were fearful all week that something was going to happen. There was no communication that this was going to happen, but there were secret talks.
Yeah.
So people got scared. Some people knew they were fine. Some people were nervous. And then they brought in, I think they laid off 20 people, maybe not even that many, but they brought them all into a conference room at the same time and told them all together in a room. And then they just packed up and left. And it just didn't feel like the right way. It wasn't even reading off a script. It was like, you're all gone.
Yeah. Oh,
You don't even deserve a personal one-on-one. We
can
don't
you
even.
imagine Elon giving that talk, Jay, instead of the former CEO at Marriott? Like
Oh.
he literally would have been just like, it was decided that you guys suck and you guys are gone.
I've been enough, and we decided. We looked at your badge swipes. Gotta go.
Yeah.
You guys are the shortest of the dwarfs. Bye. Like what?
Yeah.
All right. For HR Famous, that's what we got today. Madeline, Jay, thank you so much. We'll see you guys again the next time. Next week. We do them every week. That's the way it goes. HR Famous, we're out.